Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to work on some glitter tattoos. Here are our supplies. First, we need some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. We also need some cotton pads to apply the alcohol. And we need a fine glitter that's meant for makeup or body art, which can be found easily on Amazon. Regular painter's tape, a pair of scissors, just a regular cheap blush brush, and some really cheap eyeshadow brushes. If you don't have any, you can run to the dollar store and just get whatever you find. Then you also need some glitter tattoo stencils. And we're also going to need some glitter tattoo glue. I'll put a link to the one I like in the description below. So first you're going to find the location that you want to apply your tattoo on and clean the entire area with your isopropyl alcohol. This gets all of the skin oils and dirt off of the area so the glitter applies better. And for this tattoo, I'm going to wrap it around my entire wrist, so you need to make sure the entire wrist is clean. So for this tattoo, you need several very small micro tattoo stencils. There is a tattoo stencil size that's smaller. This one, you can choose to use the smaller size if you wish. If you use the smaller size, you can fit more of these little charms on the total tattoo. But I like to use this size because they're easier to apply. It just depends on your customer, how many charms you want, and the size of your customer's wrist. So if you're applying to a wrist that's extra small, you might want to use the smaller ones. So select your first two and apply to the underside of the wrist. And you're going to take your glitter glue and lightly apply it to the stencil area. Be gentle while you're brushing it on so you don't pull up any of the edges of the stencil. And the lighter you apply it, the quicker it dries. Make sure you don't put too much on. Always apply in the direction that the stencil is laying. So if the stencil is very intricate and has little bitty pieces, you want to make sure the glue is brushed towards the edges and not from the edge inward. Now you're just going to let the glue completely dry, and you'll know it's dry when there is no color left to it. If there's any sheen or blue color left to it, it's still too wet to apply any glitter. If you apply the glitter too quickly, it will not stick correctly and your brush will just get covered in glue and spread it everywhere. So make sure this is super dry before you start applying your glitter. So you're going to take one of your eyeshadow brushes and select your color of glitter and just tap it lightly over the surface of the area that the glue is applied to. Make sure there are no areas that look like there is no glitter clinging to it. And also make sure that the whole area is well saturated with glitter. We'll brush off the excess later. I like to use the pad that I applied alcohol with to clean the brushes between colors as well, so that I don't mix the colors together. Now I'm going to apply another color to this second one. Just make sure it's well covered. And once you can't see any skin through, then you're ready to brush off some of the excess. Make sure you clean your brush off pretty often so that there's no glue that continues to stick to it and messes up your future tattoos. So I'm just going to lightly brush off the surrounding area and then pill up each stencil. And pill it up gently, especially if it has small little intricate lines on it, because the lines will rip off very easily. So we have our little butterfly and our little bunny. Now I'm going to take the blush brush and just make sure there's no excess glitter anywhere on the skin. Now I'm going to flip the wrist over and we're going to apply the rest of the small charms to this side of the wrist. I've got a little star here. And I tried to choose some that were kind of springy or summery to make this a very vibrant little piece here. And this is actually one of my favorite glitter tattoos to do. It's very popular. My daughter actually loves this one. She'll ask me for one all the time. So when I get a chance, I like to give her a little glitter tattoo here and there. And this is especially fun for little girls who like to wear jewelry because it's a piece of jewelry that they don't have to take off. And usually they can wear it to school. You just have to make sure that you know what their school rules are because some schools do ban temporary tattoos. So this is the same process. You're just going to apply the stencil, make sure it's all stuck down, and then lightly apply your glue to the stencil area and just wait for it to dry. Now when you have your colors chosen for these next few charms, you're just going to do the exact same process. Use your eyeshadow brush to fully color the area. And for my charms on this side, I have chosen a gold, a teal color, and a really bright ice blue. Now this little dragonfly is a little bit wet to be applying the glitter, but for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and put my glitter on. Just know that I would usually let this dry until it's completely clear. And I'm switching brushes because my brush did get some glue gunked on it. Alright, when you're happy with how much glitter is on there and you're sure you can't see any skin showing through, then you can go ahead and peel off your stencils just like you did before. And if you're applying these over a table, you may want to have a piece of paper or some newspaper or maybe a tray underneath where you're applying glitter tattoos so that when you brush off the excess, all of the extra glitter can fall into the tray or on the piece of paper. So it makes for an easier cleanup. Alright, I have all of my charms applied. Now what I'm going to do is add a little chain link bracelet to attach them all so that I can have a little charm bracelet. And to do that, it's pretty simple. You just take the brush of your glue and put little dots, linking each of the little charms together. And it's going to be the same process. You're just going to wait for the dots that are bluish white to turn clear. And once they're clear, you can apply whatever color you want the bracelet to be. And I will typically do the bracelet part as a silver or a gold or whatever color the little kid wants to choose, because sometimes their favorite color is pink, and who wouldn't want a pink charm bracelet? Just make sure you know where all the dots are so that when they dry, you don't lose track of where to apply your glitter. Now using this technique is a bit messy when it comes to applying the glitter part, so really make sure that you have something protective underneath where you're going to be putting all the glitter on. And now we just wait for it to dry. Now about half of my dots are dry, so I'm going to go ahead and start applying it. Again, I would typically wait longer and make sure all of them are dry before I start applying the glitter if I'm doing this on an actual customer, but for sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and start applying it now. And once you've cleaned your brush off really well, just take your big blush brush and brush off all the excess glitter. And what's left behind is this little thin, dainty bracelet that connects all your charms together. Now, if you've never worked with glitter tattoos before, these do last 48 to 74 hours, depending on how often the area is washed. So now we're going to do an armband with this butterfly. And I'm going to make it an ombre butterfly. So I have this yellow, orange, a gold color, a darker orange, and a red to make an ombre. The more colors you have in the ombre, the more smooth the ombre looks, but it also takes longer to apply. This could easily be done with just yellow, orange, and red. So this I'm going to do a little bit further up on my arm so you can see it. And mine did turn out a little bit wonky, but it's very difficult to apply these on yourself and reach all the way around your arm and be able to see. So when I apply these on a customer, they usually turn out pretty good though. Just make sure your stencil's really pressed down and that there are no pieces still sticking up. And apply your glue in the same fashion. All right, now that our glue is dry, I'm gonna start with this little tiny blush brush. It's usually like a crease brush or something that's still fluffy but small. And I'm going to start on the inside of the butterfly and make my way to the outside. You can also do this top to bottom or bottom to top or left to right, whichever one you prefer. But for this butterfly, I'm just gonna start with this lightest yellow color and put it directly in the center. And then once the center is fully saturated, I'm going to go in with a little bit fluffier brush because I don't need as much control. And do the next color up and just apply it all around the area. And you can cover up some of it as well. In the end, when you brush off all the excess, all the colors will show through. And then add your next color if you're doing this many. Just make sure the glitter is really pressed down and that there is no skin showing through, and be very mindful of the stencil that none of it is peeling up and the glitter doesn't get underneath. And then I'm going to add my darkest color around the outside. And if you see any areas to fill in, you can just fill them in. All the colors are going to blend together nice and easy. So it doesn't really matter which color you use to fill in the extra spots. Then you're going to take your blush brush and brush off all the excess, and you can really see the ombre color come through. Now be very careful when peeling up this type of sticker because it is so intricately detailed. This is the type that all the little pieces can break off. And there is our butterfly. Also, when you're applying a glitter tattoo on the arm like this, just make sure that you peel in the direction of someone's arm hair so that you aren't giving them, unnecessary pain, like when you rip off a Band-Aid. And there's our butterfly. Next, we're going to add a armband connecting to the butterfly all the way around the arm. And to do this, we're going to use some masking tape. I'm going to take my scissors and cut the tape and make sure it has a really nice flat edge. And then I'm going to cut a piece to length that is long enough to wrap around my whole arm. Next, I'm going to use the scissors to cut 3 strips out because I want 2 bands going around my arm. You can easily just cut this in half and make 1 band. And try to make these as even as possible. It doesn't always come out right. You can try ripping the tape. Sometimes it's better to get an even piece than cutting. And this process does take longer. So if you're doing this type of tattoo and offering it at a booth, you may want to charge a little bit more for this type. All right, once you have your strips ready, just look at them and pick the one that looks the most even all the way across. And I think that was the first one that I cut. And that's the one you're gonna apply in the middle if you're doing 2 stripes. So you're going to just stick this at the edge of the design and wrap it all the way around the arm and try to make it smooth and even all the way around. And make sure it connects to both sides of whatever design you put on. Then you're going to take your other 2 strips and use the edge that is the most even and do the same thing. You're going to apply one on top of the design and one on the bottom of the design. All right, once you have all of your tape on, you're going to start with your glue and just apply it in a stripe all the way around the arm. Just make sure it's really thinly applied so you have no globs anywhere that can stick to your brush. And make sure there's no spots on the arm that you actually miss. Now once your glue is dry and translucent, go ahead and apply the color that you're using for your band. In this case, I'm using this black glitter. And it is all the exact same process, just make sure there's no skin showing through and apply it everywhere that you have the glue. And you can see here on the back side of my arm where I can't really see where I need to apply the glitter, so I missed several spots, and this is kind of where my design turned out wonky. And just make sure that you get this brush really clean afterwards because it does tend to be messy and covered in little bits of glue and lots of glitter, so take some time cleaning the brush out after you do this type of design. And now we peel off the tape. And we have our armband glitter tattoo. There are a few spots on here that I couldn't see that are a little bit still wet, so be wary of that. It is a large area to cover with glue, and it does take a while to completely dry. And there you have it. Just clean up your piece and you have a happy customer. So our next design is this extra large rainbow fairy. And this works on any design. It's just like how we applied the ombre tattoo, but this time we're going to go through all the colors of the rainbow. So I went through my glitters and found all the rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Clean the area like normal, and then apply your sticker. Use the same techniques on applying your glue, applying it in a thin layer and letting it dry completely. Now this time around I'm going to do it slightly different to show you that you can pull the stencil off before you apply the glitter. It is just a lot more satisfying to apply the glitter on top of the stencil and then peel it off at the end. Now the reason that some artists like to peel the stencil off first is because some of these stencils can be reused and they do get expensive. But that is your choice, and some artists are against reusing stencils because of health and safety concerns. So this is totally up to you. Now once your glue is transparent, you can go ahead and start applying your colors. And I'm going to start at the very beginning of the rainbow with this red color. Now you're going to choose the first color of the rainbow and completely saturate the area. And once you're satisfied with how wide your band is for the red color, then you can move on to the next and apply it in the same fashion where you overlap at the edge slightly to make it kind of an ombre effect. Now, if you would like to make the rainbow bands really straight, like straight lines between each of the colors, you can also use masking tape between each of the layers. It's a little bit harder to do this because the masking tape will stick to the glue, so it's harder to peel off. That's why I just like to do the ombre effect. And there you have it, folks. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the instruction and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.